What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and it's going to be another finance video today. I'm just going to be teaching you guys how to buy a car and everything that goes into buying a car. So I'm going to be talking about interest rates, I'm going to be talking about down payments, I'm going to talk about special offers from dealerships, if you should buy a brand new car or a used car, and lease options. So let's get into it. All right, so step one to buying a car, knowing your credit score. Unless you got wads of cash to bring into the dealership and you're ready to buy a car like all out just in cash and not a loan, you're going to need to know your credit score. If you have anything in the 500s or below, I would say don't even try to go to a dealership. Don't even try to buy a car. Just keep growing your credit, because chances are if you're at the 500s, you're going to get a high interest rate, maybe like 10 to 15% or something like that, or just not get approved at all. So I would work on your credit if you're in the 500s. Also, knowing your credit score, you can talk to the salesman or salesperson and you can tell them that your credit score is about this. Let's just say 650, for example. They will take your credit score and they will take it to the sales manager. The sales manager will give you a quick estimate of what your payments might look like with your credit score and with an estimated amount of a down payment. So not only does your credit score play a part, but also the down payment. So me personally, I don't do down payments at all. I only do down payments on cars that I know that I won't get approved on without a down payment, or I really want a car and it's worth it to put a down payment. Otherwise, down payment money is just like, I call it liquid cash, where it doesn't really make a difference if you're completely confident in buying a car. It's just a waste of money. And if you plan on using that money as a down payment, I would save it until you buy the car. And then once you buy it, I would drop that down payment into your car note, so that way you're ahead on your bills, or it's just like a savings. So that's what I would do. If you had money saved up for a down payment, don't even worry about using it at a dealership, because it's just a waste of money. Buying cars is a great way to raise your credit. It shows responsibility. It's a big purchase, and usually it's a really long loan term, so it looks good the longer you have it. Credit bureaus like to see length in the loan, so they don't like to see it close down right away. So me personally, that's one of the negative things on my credit, is because I go through cars so often that it looks bad on me, and it shows high revolving credit debt, meaning that I buy a car within the same year, I go try to buy another one, and so on and so forth, and then it just looks bad on me. So I think my average credit line is like a year or something, year and some change, which is not good. You want to stay in like the average of like 2 years, 2 to 3 years. That's usually what banks look at, and I don't know why they keep approving me for stuff, but I don't know. So know your credit, know what you're going to do with your down payment, and know what car you want to get. Another thing to look out for is the dealership offers. So dealerships usually offer like a certain incentive, usually on brand new cars. This incentive might include a interest rate decrease. It might include some cash off the top of the purchase price. It might be towards, like, if you're in the military service, you get some money towards it. Graduation money. So if you're like a college graduate or something, or you're in school, they'll give you money for that also. So just ask about their incentives. Generally speaking, Nissan doesn't have that many incentives. Definitely Toyota does not have that many. They usually only do like $500 for like graduation or military. Know their incentives, know what they could be used for and which ones you qualify for, and that'll play a big part also in how you can buy a car. So credit score, down payment, incentives. And also, the next thing I'm going to say is to negotiate. So the first step of me negotiating is I want to go like go big or go home type of negotiations. So I usually ask them for all their incentives plus like another $2,000 off. I try, because if the incentives are usually from the factory, it's usually like, let's say Nissan, for example. Nissan gives a dealership those incentives, so that's before the dealership can negotiate anything else. Now, all you have to do is negotiate another 2,000 on top of that, or whatever number you want to choose. And the worst thing they can say is no. If they say no, then you try to ask for a counter offer. So say they approve you, they automatically say yes to your all the incentives included. Ask for like a couple $100 more, or it doesn't even have to be money off the car. It could be like floor mats, it could be a spoiler, it could be paint protection, whatever the other features and products that they have from the dealership. You can ask them for that. You can also ask them for window tint and stuff like that. I always ask for extra stuff. I don't really care too much about the money off because usually car dealerships are pretty picky about that. If they can give away some floor mats instead of taking money off the car, it looks better on them. So it's easier to get products rather than getting money off. I love all weather floor mats, so I always ask for those. Those are usually like $300 or so. So that's a good deal for me. And I usually ask for the incentives off. The one thing that you could do about negotiations is the cars in the showroom are usually cars that they have special, like manager specials on, or it's usually cars that have been sitting in the lot for too long. So just because you buy a showroom floor car does not mean that it's a special car. It just means it's been in the dealership the longest and they're trying to get rid of it. Or it's cars that they just got and they don't want to put them outside yet. So it's one of the two options, but just go sit inside the car and see how many miles are on it. Usually cars that have like higher miles, like let's say if it's a brand new car and it already has like 30 miles on it, you could pretty much negotiate those pretty low. So, because once it hits like, I think it's 100 miles, it's not really considered a brand new car anymore. So that's also risky too, because banks sometimes will ask how many miles are on it, and then they'll do the loan as a used car or a new car. And that could be bad for you because used cars have higher interest rates and used cars cannot go for as long of a loan term as a brand new car. So that's something to look forward to, looking out for. All right, so you got your credit score, you got your down payment situation, you got the incentives, you got your negotiation skills. So the only thing left is to make a deal with the sales manager. Once everything is said and done, get it in writing. Have the sales manager sign the paper, say this is an official deal that he is ready to do with you. And then if you accept it, he's going to ask you to sign it just so you guys can start the deal and everything. If you don't accept it, the car salesperson is going to take that paper back and tell them your counter offer. Usually, once the sales manager signs it before you even ask him to sign it, it's usually like the last straw for the sales manager, and the sales manager does not want to negotiate anymore. So just take that into account. If you negotiate too far, the sales manager is not going to want to talk to you. If the sales manager really wants to get rid of the car, he will come out from behind his desk and come talk to you in person with the signed paper because he wants to get rid of that car. So generally speaking, I like to look for cars that have like a little bit more miles just because I can negotiate that. And I know that they're trying to get rid of it. So they want to sell it just as bad as I want to buy it. So it's a win-win situation there. If the car sales manager does not accept your offer and you're not okay with doing it, just walk away, and maybe the next day or two, the dealership will call you back if they want to sell that car bad enough, and they will accept your offer. So don't agree just to any offer that they throw back at you. It's not the best offer that they can do. Unless you're asking for like $10,000 off of a car that's already $10,000 off. That's kind of like harsh, and you're not going to get that call back the next couple days because your offer was way too low. So just take into consideration that they're throwing you offers. You don't have to accept them if you don't want to. If you don't want to, just walk away. They might call you back. 50% chance they're going to call you back and say that, hey, we'll do your offer instead, and let's get this deal rolling. With that being said, those are easy ways to buy a car. There's also lease options. Lease options is pretty much renting a car On leases, you do not have to put money down. You only have to put money down if you want their incentive monthly payment. If their monthly payment is advertised for $300 a month, usually in fine print it says you have to put $3,000 down or whatever the dealership says. That's up to you if you want to put that $3,000 down. If you don't put the $3,000 down, then your monthly payment is obviously going to go up. But you do not have to put a down payment. Don't ever have a dealership tell you you have to put a down payment. It's completely up to you. No one's going to tell you how to spend your money. It's up to you if you want to put a down payment. Obviously, a down payment will help you get your payments lower, but it's up to you. Also, with leases, you can negotiate the terms of the loan. So what I mean by that is leases, you finance half of the car price. So let's say it's a $20,000 car, you only finance $10,000, and that's usually why leases are cheaper, because they estimate the value of the car at the end of the term. So if you have a 3-year term, they estimate the remaining value for the end of the 3 years, and that's how they finance it. Not only that, but they take into consideration the amount of miles that you sign up for. So usually it's 10,000, 12,000, or 15,000 miles per year for 3 years is average. Obviously, more miles makes your car payment higher because they're trying to make up for that depreciation that you're going to be putting on the vehicle. Obviously, because at the end of the lease, all they do is take the keys back if you don't want the car anymore, or you can refinance it and you can finance it for the rest of the term, for the rest of the amount of the vehicle. I personally don't have a problem with leases. It is good for military people to get leases because when they get deployed or get PCS somewhere, they can use orders and they can cancel that loan, and they can be free and clear with no fees. I would advise to military people to get a lease rather than financing. And I would definitely never recommend a used car, just because of the fact if you're not mechanically inclined or you're tight on cash or money or whatever in general, there are obviously with any vehicle, but unexpected problems with used vehicles. And usually used vehicles, they put you in a lot of debt also right off the bat. If you ever do buy a used vehicle at a dealership, for example, try to negotiate the fees and stuff into the vehicle price. So if they're selling the car for $10,000 and then the fees and everything added on top of it is $2,000, let's just say, try to tell them you'll buy the car from them for $10,000 with the fees included. And then usually the dealerships will be like, all right, whatever, we'll do that. And then that way the value of the car that you're buying stays at the value and you're not going upside down right away. Because that $2,000 that you just put on the loan automatically puts you upside down on the vehicle. That's usually the first thing I try to negotiate into a car deal. Whether it's a brand new car or a used car, I try to get the fees and stuff put inside of the loan and negotiate it in there. It doesn't matter how new or how used the car is. That's usually in an ideal situation. If they can't do it, then they obviously don't want to sell the car. So, because $2,000 off of a car, it's not that big of a deal to a dealership. Like, they make millions and millions of dollars. So, all right. So that's where I'm going to end today's video. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll answer anything you guys have questions about. If you have recommendations for the next video, just leave it down below. Always hit that like button, hit the subscribe button with the notifications bell turned on, so that way you know when I post a new video. As always, stay motivated, stay hydrated, and keep it cruising. See you guys next time. And there she goes. Heart that pounds like a stereo.